How are you?
Good. How are you, Dr. Dale?
Fine. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
Well, good.
How about you? What have you been up to?
Well, it was Thanksgiving weekend and the weather was really good, so I was out on the trails.
Right, were you biking?
Oh yeah, yeah. I try to do about 100 miles a week.
A week. Wow. I did see you on the bike trail that one time I was doing a photo shoot.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So how can I help you today?
I just wanted to have a talk with you because during all of this, obviously, no one is really communicating or anything. Like, we rarely hear from the president, so I was like, my audience is the college Clarion students, and I figured they would love to hear from you. Everybody wants to hear from Dr. Dale.
Well, I'd love to answer any questions you think they might have.
Well, first for me, I want to know. So you have a medical background. I wanted to know what made you want to become president, or when you even got the job offer.
Oh, well, it's, um, that's a really, really good question. I don't think that when I became a nurse all those years ago, I ever thought I would grow up and become a university president. It was not even in my my mindset for sure. I when I was a nurse though, I did have some leadership roles that I think did prepare me for being a president. I was a captain of a life flight team, so I helped create one of the first life flight teams in southeastern Idaho because it was a rural part of the world, and patients who had emergency situations really very often couldn't get the help they needed. So we used to have to fly in and get people the help that they needed. So organizing and developing that is not that different from organizing and developing Western integration project here at Clarion. I mean, there are many features that are the same. People have to work for the common good and a good outcome. So I worked for many years, and I decided I wanted to become a professor because I really like to teach. And so that was really what led me to working at a university full time. And I just loved being with the students and teaching them and helping them find their path. And in some ways, as a president, that's what I get to continue to do. So the work is not that unsimilar. It may seem like, oh, what does a nurse have to do with a professor? It has to do with, but even when I was a nurse, I was always teaching patients and helping them take care of themselves, learn how to be in charge of their own health.
You
So,
seem you seem very personal with the students, and we don't see that from many people at a high level. And that's what
oh,
students really appreciate that about you.
oh, thank you.
Especially
Thank
now, I know it's hard for you to be personal, but you do
It's
it.
hard, it's hard with, Skype and Zoom and FaceTime. I mean, and then seeing the students, across, we had the Luminaria ceremony for Relay for Life a couple of weeks ago. It was a beautiful ceremony, but all the students had masks on. They were
Right.
all 6 to 8 feet apart. They did a great job, but it was hard not to, give them a hug and thank them for
Hmm.
all the work that they're doing.
Then you can't see their
That is
smiles after.
challenging. Yeah, people say they know that I smile because my eyes crinkle.
Aw. So, all right. So you're a president, and what I realized about you is that you've noticed that it is important to have an interest in sports.
Yes,
Why is that?
lots
Why
of
do you
reasons.
feel such a personal interest in sports? Because I see you try to be as involved as you can.
Well, I think that athletics and different ways of being an athlete lead many of our students to campus. And for many of our students, if it were not for the athletic programs or the participation in some kind of athletic event, they wouldn't be on campus. So it's a gateway for a fuller life and to meet your dreams. There's a few things that the athletic programs, now the sports are all different and we all have our favorites, and
Right.
I'm not going to tell you what my favorites are, but I do go to as many as I can. And I think that it was Coach Ashley brought in a wonderful trainer about a year and a half ago, and she was teaching the women leadership skills, and she was teaching them these concepts that a lot of them already knew because they knew how to build teams, how to support each other, how to have one another's back, figuratively and literally. And so striving to become your best self, you compete with others, but you also compete with yourself to be like I do when I ride my bicycle. It's like,
Right.
okay, I did 16 miles. Tomorrow I'm going to do 17. Sunday I'm going to do 24. And maybe then I'll cut my time back and I do it in how many hours and minutes. So you're always, trying to be your best self. And I think that's what athletics does. The other thing is, to
I'm sorry.
become
I'm sorry. I got a call.
that's okay.
Yeah.
To do something that you want to become the best at, that's a really transferable skill to the rest of your life, whether it's in athletics or it's in business or your career or with your family or in your community. And I think that that's something that really makes Clarion students stand out, is that they try to be their best selves. The other thing too is that our coaches and our athletic trainers really are a big part of helping our students engender good study habits. They're on the students all the time about making sure their academics come first, and I have a lot of respect for our coaches and our support staff because of that, because they really know that in the end, it is the degree that will get the students to a better life.
Right.
And athletics is part of it, but it's not all of it. They're students first.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We love that about you. I was talking to the wrestlers. Obviously, I communicate with the wrestlers, and they're hoping for a season. A lot of the seasons have been ended. The fall PSAC seasons are now not happening.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Ferraro the other day, and we were outside Tippin, and he said to me that in the conference and with other coaches across the country, their rates of infection and contagion spread were much higher than ours were. And, we every time we had a case, we were like, oh, we have another case. Oh, this is terrible. But our rates were much lower than across the nation. And even in the community. And I'm very proud of the students because of that. And I hope that they can compete. Even though some of the competitions for some of the fall and winter sports are not going to go through, they can still scrimmage and they can do a few other things with cooperating schools, which I really supported because we have very strong testing protocols in place. And we've been working with President Lori Carter, who most of you know. She's the president of SHIP, which is another Pehrsson school, but she's also a former student athlete, All-American, and graduated from Clarion. So she's one of ours.
Okay.
So even though she looks out for her university, she often looks out for ours too. So we've become good friends, and I have a lot of respect for Lori. Lori has developed a testing program in concert with a few other schools and also with labs. And so the testing protocol is very strict and it's become very reasonable. So we can afford to make sure our athletes are tested. And of course, the coaches and the athletic trainers and the support staff as well. But, for students not to be able to compete, you can only do so much scrimmaging, practicing, weight building, keeping yourself in good shape. In the end, you want to try to compete.
Yes.
And that's we're hoping that with the vaccines that are look like they'll be available to the general public in the spring, we're hoping that next year is a much more normal year. We are bringing more students back to campus in the spring semester. Probably about 200 more students to 250 living on campus. We had about 500 this semester. I think that the wrestlers are moving in. They'll be over the break because they'll be practicing their competitions.
Yes.
And we're hoping that we can open the campus a little bit more fully. Of course, we do require everybody on campus to wear a mask if they're on campus property, and that irritates some people. But it's like, you don't have to make a decision. You're on the campus property, you get out of your car, you put your mask on,
Right.
And it's easy. That way you can not think about it. It just becomes automatic.
Right. Yeah. So the campus will be a little busy this winter, I guess, since I know the wrestlers are staying, and I guess basketball players too, the winter sports.
Yes, we've got a few teams staying, getting ready, keeping themselves in shape, limited travel. Of course, now there are restrictions with the travel. So if you leave the state, you have to be in quarantine.
Right.
So
Yeah. I'm from Maryland, so I couldn't go home for Thanksgiving because I didn't want to get.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So-
I'm sorry you missed your family. I hope you had a pretty good Thanksgiving here in town.
I did. I love Clarion, so I never have a bad time here.
I do too.
So now that I saw that you are now the president of Edinboro
Interim.
interim, right? So how did that
Yes.
come about?
Well, President Guiyu Hong, he took another position in Illinois, I think. Yeah, Illinois and Western Illinois University. So we all thought we knew he was looking, but we all thought, like it would be July 1st. Usually that's when it happens. So I asked the chancellor. I said, "Well, congratulations to Gui. When does he start?" And that's my husband in the
I
background.
saw.
And it was January 1st. So I went, January 1st. And the chancellor asked me if I would be interested in being interim because I'm already working with the integration project of the three Western universities, Edinboro and Clarion. So I thought about it and I said, sure, yeah, it'd be a good way to get to know the people there, but also help with the sharing of different programs and different services. So I think it's a good opportunity. I'm certainly going to be busy
Right.
to remember what school colors to wear on what particular day. Sure.
Is your car going to be like half Edinboro, half Clarion?
I I think I'm probably going to have to rethink the car thing. But we have two branded beautiful cars that we have in Clarion that we take around. We've got little Goldie, and she's a little spot. We've got Ernie, he's a little bit more formal.
Right.
But yeah, it's Edinboro has very similar kinds of students to what we have here at Clarion. Same with California, and a lot of our students have grit. They just have determination and grit. They're just going to get through things and do what they need to do. The difference with the borough is that they have a big focus on the arts in addition to education and social work and other health nursing. And we already share a program with them in graduate nursing with Edinboro. We've done that for many years. Our faculty work together. So we're hoping with the integration project that we'll actually, instead of having to keep trimming down because of financial constraints, that we're actually going to be able to bolster our academic array and offerings to our students. And the other goal is to have the best quality programs for a very, very reasonable price. That I've always been very worried about student debt and cost of students. And this is a way to really help leverage against that.
Was that your ultimate goal with so if you becoming Edinboro's, your ultimate goal was because of the merger going on?
Yeah, the integration of the programs, I'm already working very closely with people, so it was an opportunity to do that until July 1st. After July 1st, we'll see what happens with the integration and what the Board of Governors approves and what the next steps are going to be. If it is approved, then we're on the cutting edge of the future of higher education here in Western Pennsylvania. We have an opportunity to not only create the best programs, but to make them accessible to students in lots of different ways. We'll have the three traditional on-campus, on-ground programming. We'll have the Clarion campus, the Borough campus, and the Cal U. And we'll also have a virtual campus, which say a few years from now, you decide you want to go back for a graduate degree, but you're working full time, you'll be able to do that at your own pace, at your own leisure, keep your job and pay your tuition as you go, a reasonable tuition, and get to that next career peg that you want to get to or expand now say you had not finished college a few years ago and decided to go course, go into the service or get married or all those other kinds of things that happen as we make personal decisions, or you leave the state for a few years and decide, oh, Maryland's okay, but I got to get back to Clarion, I really like Pennsylvania, and you want to do that, you can access an online degree from anywhere, wherever you live, but you'll get it from the new university. And I think that will make it a big difference. There are many adults out there who are post-traditional college age who want to continue their education or stopped out for some reasons. and they haven't been able to go back in, or if they do, they'll have to go with a different provider that's not got the Pennsylvania state, which, we are Paschy, we are a state school. And state schools are known for their quality, but they also should be known for being a reasonable cost. And that's something that we've kind of gotten away from over the last few years. We don't get the best funding all the time. And so the costs have sometimes been passed on to the students, and we want to change that.
Why do you think we don't get so much funding? Is there a reason? Like,
I, no, let's start a Christmas list of all the reasons why. It'll be a really long list. But in the end, it doesn't matter how we get funded. In the end, it matters that we have a mission, and our mission is to educate the citizens of the Commonwealth.
right.
And so we have to figure out how to do it. And I think we're on the right track.
So you always seem so happy, but clearly you're so busy that can also seem stressful, right? There's a lot of people stressful during these times, but you seem so happy during all that stress on top of you. What advice would you give these students who are stressing about the little things during these times?
Well, when I was in my teens, late teens, early 20s, late 20s, like many of our students are, I worried about a lot of things because I worried about my next paycheck, or how I was going to pay my bills, or if I was going to find somebody to love, all those things that people worry about. Can I pass my classes? The statistics class is hard, I can't make it work. But in the end, taking some time to realize you don't have to get it all immediately. No one really cares how many years it took you to get your bachelor's degree. I found that out because it took me a long time because I worked. I stressed about things that really were important to me, but they really, in the long run, weren't important. But I think to find ultimate happiness, or to be not so stressed, you have to find things that within this pandemic are good. Like about a year ago, I really started working on, I've always studied Spanish as a second language for me. And in my family, my father's first language was Hungarian, and my mother's was Italian. So it's always around a lot of languages. Wanted to become better at it. Well, when the pandemic hit, I had a little more free time.
Right.
So my new best friend is Duolingo, and I'm now in the Diamond League, and I've been practicing Spanish every day since the pandemic hit. So I got something out of that normally I wouldn't have had, reading more books instead of always being on screen time. When the pandemic first hit, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I can't do this. I can't do this. What can I do? And I thought, well, I could go outside and get some fresh air, because that's one thing you can do. You can go outside, get fresh air. So I've always been a cyclist. So I'm cranking away really about 100 miles a week. Just now it's a little difficult. I have to get the snow tires on the bike now because there's snow today. And then I do have an exercise bike in the basement. It's not as much fun as being outside. But I think that the benefits of actually getting physical activity, people don't realize this, but your posture is better. You actually sleep better. Your mood is better. You can actually disperse tension. Rather, if you are tense, riding or doing some kind of physical activity, most athletes know this. You get rid of it by getting out and doing something physical. I also think that there's a third and fourth gift. I have reached out to friends via long distance who I haven't connected with on a daily basis because we're all on, using technology.
Right.
And I have found that all over the world, people are struggling with the same things we're struggling with right here in Clarion. And there's a tremendous amount of support, comfort, and solace that you get when you're connecting with friends and family. That's really powerful. And if you have a good buddy or a love companion, like my partner of 40 some odd years, my husband, this gift of actually spending a little more time together is something that we'll never get back.
Right.
This is a special time for that. Now, I understand that there's a lot of other hardships and bills paid. And I think for the students, the biggest advice is don't be afraid to ask somebody for help. That there's somebody who can help you with that class, or if you can't figure out the technology, we have tech who will zoom in and help you to figure things out. If you're having trouble with your bills, contact the bills office. Somebody will help you figure out a plan. So don't be so afraid to ask or think people will make fun of you, because we all have struggles and worries, and people are here to help. And at Clarion, that is something that maybe once in a while you'll have somebody who's having a bad day, or they won't help you, or it seems like they've, well, they're not paying enough attention to me. But that's only one person. That's not everybody. So be persistent and keep asking until you get what you need. I think that's probably the most important thing.
Yeah, I realized that I've had a lot of time. That's why I started on YouTube now. I have this and a YouTube channel, trying to build
Yeah.
myself and like.
You, well, you're so creative. I mean, you're a photographer. You do use technology. You have good interview skills. You know, I've noticed, I was reviewing a faculty member's portfolio the other day because he'd been on sabbatical, and it was this amazing studio web design that he had, and he partners with another faculty member, and they do this great work. And he said that as hard as COVID has been, it has given him time to really discover the things he's really good at.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I see a lot of young people, I'm like, this is how you know technology is so important, because now you can connect, and social media is such a strong tool right now.
Well, our faculty truly have connected with students and our staff in ways that there's so much out of classroom time that they're spending using technology to connect with students, but also our tech team. Leo and the folks who work in the tech team on this campus, if it weren't for them, our university would not be alive. They're just thriving through this whole thing. And I think that's the other thing too, is they recognize what you're grateful for.
Right. So I know I only had you for 30 minutes. So lastly, I wanted to know, what are your actions moving forward during all of this?
Well, getting through the rest of the semester and finals and wrapping up the semester. We're very lucky, of course, with not having a lot of infections. Going forward, we will be continuing to monitor, because Pennsylvania now has the 12% statewide infection rate, which is a concern. So we'll be watching the Christmas parties, the New Year's parties, the spike in cases after Thanksgiving, the holidays. One thing I'm very excited about, Caitlin Krupa, our Council of Trustees student, and some of the student senators are putting together, and some of the student leaders on campus are putting together a team of students to help educate students about behavior that could really cause other people to be at risk with disease. And we're really excited about that student-led initiative. I'm going to see how I can help them in ways forward. In the spring, I'll be spending time between the Clarion campus and also the Edinboro campus, and getting to know the students in the north, and the staff and the faculty who serve them, and the coaches and the athletes. So I'm excited about that. And I think, building the future. At this time in my career, I'm only going to work, a few more years. And at this time in my career, it is just a gift to be able to help the citizens of Pennsylvania plan for education for the next generation and beyond. So that's enough to keep me busy, and, of course, hitting the bike trails.
Well, that's good. Thank you so much. That's all I had for you. The students are going to be...
Oh, thank you, Ashby.
The students are going to love to hear from you.
Oh, and thank you for thinking of me. And I hope you stay healthy and take care of yourselves. And please keep sharing the information with the students. You're doing a great job.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. See you later.
Bye.